Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Power of United Impact podcast. Today we're here sitting down with Cheri Tillis. Hello, Cheri.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. She is the Chief Executive Officer at Fathers and Family Support Center, and I'm so excited to have you here. We've known each other for a very long time.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just glad that you could make time and come by and pop in to tell us a little bit more about the organization and what you all are out there focused on. So before we jump into our conversation,
Right.
I want to remind our listeners and viewers that they can catch our podcast series anywhere that they listen to their favorite podcast, or they can catch us on YouTube or Facebook. And so tune in because we have a lot of good information to share. So Cheri.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about you. I want to know about your origin story because it's pretty powerful. And I want you to share a little bit about how everything got started, the relationship between you and Halbert, who was a friend of mine.
Right.
Tell me more, let's reflect back. And, I know Halbert's no longer with us right now. And so I know you're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But tell me more about Cheri.
Sure. I am actually from St. Louis, born and raised. My parents are from here. I actually have a blended family. So I am one of the youngest in a family of 6.
I'm the youngest too.
Yeah, so, we grew up in University City. There were a couple of things. You go to church, you go to school, and that's just pretty much how it was. And after I finished my education, my undergraduate degree, I actually came back to St. Louis from Jackson, Mississippi, and immediately just jumped into community service.
Okay.
I was an AmeriCorps member, and then while working at AmeriCorps, actually learned my city. When you have protective parents that, want to make sure you have everything you need and raise you a certain way, you don't get to do a lot of things that maybe others do. But I learned about the different parts of the city, north side, south side, what were the differences in those. I was in an elementary school in South St. Louis, Sherman Elementary. And I just really got just an eye-opening lesson about what St. Louis is and, how much potential we actually have as a community. It wasn't until I was actually working with the Division of Youth Services that I met Mr. Sullivan's sister.
Oh, the sister,
I was actually serving as an assistant in her classroom. And, she would make this comment, "You remind me of my brother. You can walk through a room and clean it up at the same time."
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know what that meant, really. But our day treatment, as they called it, was closing. And I said, "You think you can give your brother my resume?" And she did.
Oh, my gosh.
And I got a chance to go down and have a conversation with him.
Yes.
And if you've ever met Halbert Sullivan, or if you had ever had an opportunity to have a conversation with him, he just exuded passion for this work. It was who he was. He was perfectly designed for it. And we had a conversation about what his dream was for this agency, what fueled that dream, his own personal story and how he got involved with this work. And I was thinking as I walked away, it's like this would be interesting.
Yes,
this is something I think I want to be a part of.
Oh, my God. And look at you now. How many years later?
Oh, my. Michelle, it's like 22 years
Has it been
later.
22 years?
It's been 22 years.
Oh, my gosh. That's an incredible journey so far.
Right.
Yeah, and you're still going. And
Still
now
going.
leading the organization. I know that you all, you specifically were focused on fathers initially.
Right.
And I think about just everything you've been talking about over the years and focusing on fathers and helping to break the cycle of poverty, neglect, and abuse. Tell me why you decided really to start with fathers. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Right. So initially, there were 2 nurses that worked at Barnes Jewish Hospital. And Mr. Sullivan at the time was at WashU, but also working with the state of Missouri on what was called a fatherhood toolkit.
Yeah.
And these nurses, they worked in the NICU, and they had lots of referrals from moms.
Okay.
But each time they would have a father who had a child in NICU,
Yeah.
they really didn't have anywhere to refer them to. And so Mr. Sullivan was doing the work. They approached him about, how they could help him. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning.
That makes sense. So you saw a gap, and this was coverage for that. It was to tune in and lean in closer to what's happening with the fathers.
Absolutely.
Well, you're doing an excellent job in this space. And, I think about the work that you do and want to hear more about what you deem as success. Like, what does success look like for a father who completes the program? That is an in-depth program, by the way.
Absolutely. So I think first and foremost, I want to just make sure that people understand that it's for any father. Mm-hmm. We don't really have restrictions on who can enroll. The only thing that we ask is that you have a child 18 or younger, which will extend to 24 or younger, and maybe be in or not in the child's life, but just sort of understand what the 6 weeks is going to provide for you. So it's 6 weeks, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. the first week, and 8 a.m. to noon the second through the sixth week. But success looks like someone who comes in and maybe doesn't have visitation with their child. They may be paying child support. Their name is more than likely not on the birth certificate, and they are simply looking for a way to advocate for themselves to have interaction with their child.
Yeah.
They may or may not be employed, or they may be underemployed. And so by the time they reach the 6 weeks, we've given them the tools that they need in 5 different curriculum that cover parenting, healthy relationships, financial education, employment development, and mental health and wellness, and reproductive care. Got that down. And then we look at whether or not you're underemployed or unemployed, and we get you started on a career pathway. And then we also have services through social workers, family therapists, as well as attorneys that help you to get things together so that you can reconnect with your children, and not just reconnect with them and become the fun parent, but the parent that provides, the parent that is able to provide them with a home that is secure and that they don't have to be fearful to visit.
Yeah.
And so success just looks like a parent who may have had some barriers to interacting with their child and or providing them financially. And once they get through the 6 weeks and then the 1 year follow-up, they're able to say, hey, I'm on my child's birth certificate. I have regular visits and or custody if that child was at risk for going into foster care. I am working on my career pathway, or I'm in employment and I've gotten a promotion.
Right.
It's those types of things that we look for. And then oftentimes there's a phase to their success because, they may come to us and they're really focused on just getting a career or just getting into their child's life. And then they come back and they're opening the bank accounts. They're doing the 401ks. They're looking into home ownership.
Yeah.
And so it's just that we're able to provide them with what they need at the time that they need it. But even when they come back, we can help them with that next level that they're trying to get to.
Wow. Your passion is really, it's just so incredible. And I see it, feel it, hear it every time I talk to you. And it shows in your leadership. It does. So they've got the right person guiding everything over there.
Well, thank you.
Our organizations have been in a relationship for a pretty long time. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk a bit about how you see United Way helping the mission there, and how we are working together to accomplish more together.
Right.
Because that's what this is all about. It's really telling that story. But talk to me about your view on that.
Right. I can honestly say that I don't think that I would be in this position and or I would not have been prepared for this position if not for the United Way and all of the supports that it has provided me personally.
Yeah.
Through the academy, through the opportunity to go to the Olin School and receive my certificate in non-for-profit leadership, through all of the trainings that focused on board development, credentialing, how to get the volunteer program credentialed. It was all like just perfectly preparing us for each level that we were going to as an organization and myself as a professional. Even my COO, Destiny Goodwin, has had the opportunity to participate in trainings through WashU or through the academy that prepared us for the roles that we're currently in long before we were even in them.
Yeah, well, it's all about that. I think about succession planning.
Yes.
And making certain the organization is not just strong from the top level, but it's deeper into the organization that we're thinking about, because we're thinking about the future of the organization.
Absolutely.
What does it mean to be a safety net agency with United Way?
It really just means that we have support and we have a team.
Yeah.
You know, there's this song on on the radio, and it's like, I got my people with me. I got my people with me. You know, and that's kind of how it feels. You know, we're not alone. Mm-hmm. We can't do everything as an organization, but we have so many other projects that we can reach out to, and just a phone call. Yeah. You know, just an email. There are volunteers that we've connected with. There are board members that we've connected with. And so it's really just been one of those things where we could say we got people.
We got people. We got people. Well, we feel the same way because, you know, when we get outreach and people talk to us about, you know, specific situations or resources that we need, we always think about which of our partners would be the good lead partner. And so we might refer someone over to you in hopes of, you know, you unlocking other resources with other neighboring safety net organizations because it takes that village. And so I think about it, I'm going to start thinking about it in terms of we got people. Yeah. We got people. Okay.
We do.
All right.
And if I can just share, even 7 years ago when we were planning on moving into East St. Louis, we could not find a location. Okay. It wasn't until we reached out to the contact through the United Way who helped us look at 3 properties. Okay. All of them were amazing, and we were able to choose the one that we're currently in. So it's those type of connections and partnerships that are fostered through this relationship.
Wow. You know, I'm from East St. Louis, so I like the sounds of this. I'm like, you know, you're set up over there.
Absolutely. My dad's from there, so I have a special
you know what? I feel like I'm learning more and more about you today from your introduction to now. Now, that's another nugget I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, my dad's from East St. Louis, and so I've always, you know, felt a connection to, you know, that side of the river. I have cousins there. I have family there, and I always knew that there was a way for us to provide services. And they didn't have to be subpar. It could be exactly what we were doing here in St. Louis. So
this is a good thing. You touched on volunteers, and I know that volunteers play a significant role in the life of a nonprofit, really, and the success of a nonprofit. And so I want you to talk to me a little bit more about how volunteers participate with your organization and maybe how you are leveraging our stlvolunteer.org site, the Volunteer Center for the region. Talk to me about that.
Sure. So I guess at the highest level, our volunteers are our board members, who some of them have actually come through training with the United Way on how to serve on boards. Okay. And then we're able to put events that we have on the website, and people can see us and they reach out to us sometimes through it, sometimes direct calls. But, you know, when we ask, how did you find out about us? Most of the time they're saying, oh, you're a United Way agency. Oh, wow. Okay. We've had teams to come and help us clean up our building at 1601 on the weekend. Yeah. We have a huge clothing closet, and they've come and helped us hang up suits and things like that.
Closet.
Right. And so our volunteers really have played a pivotal role in us being successful in any of our fundraisers. We can't do any of those without our volunteers. United Way even taught us how to have a 2-tiered board. And so we started a Friends Board of young professionals who are all...
That's important right now.
Absolutely. Right. And the majority of them are givers through the United Way campaign. And so they learn about us that way.
Yeah. It's very good. It's good to hear. It's refreshing that, you know, you all are maximizing just any opportunity and every opportunity to just understand how we can do things better together. Yes. Right? Talk to me about your family formation program. Tell me more about it. Let people know what that is.
Right. So our family formation is our flagship program. It's the largest that we run at the organization. It actually enrolls about 400 participants a year. And actually, a little known fact is we serve fathers and mothers through the family formation program. It's the 6-week process, the 240 hours that they have access to. And it has 5 curriculum, 5 staff. They have a classroom facilitator that they connect with on a daily basis. An example of the way that their day is they come in and they literally have an hour of therapy, group therapy, circle style. They talk about how they're feeling, what happened last night when you left here, what are your goals for today, how are you going to achieve those goals. And each person has that opportunity to share or not if they choose. And then the next hour, they roll into their first topic of the day, usually responsible fatherhood. Maybe a topic on what it's been like, how they were raised, what type of values they brought from being raised by their father. What do they want to keep? What do they not want to keep? Next one, they might roll into a nutrition class where they're able to cook some healthy meals like some bean burritos or something to that effect. But they're learning how to cook healthy meals. So when they have their children, they're not just running to fast food restaurants all the time. And then they have a lesson in mental health and wellness to teach them about their own health with the understanding that the more they get in touch with themselves, with their own emotions and their health, the more they'll be concerned about their children and their health concerns. And then we, end for the day. Some have assessed to need GED classes or skilled trainings. And some work. Some have to go to work after they leave. They have their lunch and then they leave for the day and they go to those workshops that they've been assessed to need. And this happens for 6 weeks. We bring presenters in from some of our safety net partners. We also have individuals from the City of St. Louis, as well as employers that all come and do workshops to introduce their opportunities. And, they're able to leave behind information for them to follow up with. And they have an entire year of follow-up. So at the conclusion of the 6 weeks, we always have a graduation.
I know about this graduation because I've been to the graduation a couple of times, if not a few times. So tell everybody about this graduation because it's a really big deal.
This graduation is a huge deal. We bring together all of our classes from all the locations, day and evening, and we have their families there with them, and we are literally celebrating that accomplishment of finishing that 6 weeks. We have some individuals who are getting perfect attendance certificates, which is a huge deal, especially for an individual who this is the first thing they've graduated from. You have people who actually didn't finish school or didn't have the opportunity to ever walk a stage, and this gives them that opportunity. Not only do they walk the stage, they share 2 or 3 things that they've learned from the program, and it's powerful. We're always kind of just wowed by some of the things that they share. And at the end, we send everyone home with, their certificates. They have dinner. And it's just a really great celebration of each individual and giving them their time and letting them know we see you, we appreciate you, and today we celebrate you.
It's a proud accomplishment, and I see the families participating in graduation, and they always are standing up so straight and proud, and it's an accomplishment for the entire family. So I'm going to run through a few things because you all have a focus on youth, and we talked a bit about that, but I know that there are specific challenges that the youth face, and you all are trying to break the cycle early on with youth. And then also domestic violence is a focus there, and reducing violence and, supporting individuals in the community who are maybe struggling through some things in that space. Do you have a success story you would want to share that helps to crystallize all of this? Give me a success story.
Absolutely. So we have our Father of the Year, actually. We have 2. We have Zaki. Zaki's a young man who had a child, and he was having issues with his child's mother. He thought that to solve the issues, he just needed to move to Atlanta and get a job or get a better job so he could thrive financially and paying would improve that relationship, but it didn't do it for him. He wanted to be more connected with his daughter. He ended up moving back home to Wisconsin to try to, make a better life for himself. But one of his friends gave him information about our organization, and he moved from Wisconsin to St. Louis to come to the program.
Okay.
And once he began to participate, he reported himself that the lessons that he was taught just helped him to better communicate with the child's mother. And so they were able to work out through the courts a 50-50 plan to where he has custody 50% of his child. He's currently working. He's able to support her financially. And, it really is working out very well for him. He actually has a new child, a little sweet little baby. And it's like, okay, he's so confident now in his ability to raise that child as well. He's working, he's contributing, the whole nine. And then one of our other fathers, his name is actually Mr. Hall. Mm-hmm. And he's a St. Louis guy, and he had a pretty decent relationship with the mom, but it wasn't enough for him.
Right.
Because he had raised all of his other sons under his roof, and he didn't feel like just having that child at the mother's whim was working out for him. So he was able to go through our, not only our reentry services, but also through our 6-week family formation. And he and the mom also were able to work out a 50-50 custody plan.
That's great.
I think one of the key things to both of these stories, though, was that a mother told them about the services. Yeah. And they picked up the phone and called.
Wow.
And that's how they were introduced to our organization. Now, just a little bit about what you mentioned in the DV space.
Yes.
Oftentimes, we look at that space and we always look at the mom as maybe the victim.
Right.
But we also,
violence, yes.
Right. We also have dads who have sustained trauma in those spaces. And so we actually work with one of our partners, St. Martha's Hall. And they provide DV training to each one of our classes so that they can recognize when they may have been the victim of violence. And we have a project called the Neighborhood Healing Network that will service them 24 hours of notifying us that they are in that type of situation. We are able to do a plan to get them out of the house, get them into housing, and then work with them to get them some more permanent supports. And the same for if a mom showed up.
Right.
For the services through our Mother's Project, 24 hours, we're able to house them and have a plan for them to escape that abuse.
Now, that's definitely something I don't think people would just have common knowledge around. And so I'm glad you brought that to our attention today to just talk about, the males as it relates to domestic violence. Mm-hmm. So, Cheri, here's the thing. I feel like I can talk to you all afternoon.
Absolutely.
And I really wish we could. But I know that, for the sake of time, we kind of have to wrap things at this point. Mm-hmm. But you are doing excellent work out there. I appreciate you. I said that before. I appreciate you partnering with other safety net organizations to help wrap services around clients and help them to see results that, are deemed successful results in what we're describing. And I just applaud you and your efforts and your leadership. I think, again, we have to wrap. And so I want to thank people for tuning in and learning more about Fathers and Family Support Center and meeting Cheri closer and hearing all about these great things the organization is doing. There's so many ways you can unite with us, and I want you to remember to follow us on social media and share this episode. Share it broadly because we want to help to raise the visibility around our safety net organizations. Go to helpingpeople.org to learn more about us and our safety net orgs. Let me say thank you again, Cheri, for popping by to talk to us and sharing details.
And thank you. I sincerely appreciate it. Michelle, I look to you as a mentor, and I really appreciate what you do and how you are in this space.
Oh, thank you. I learned so much from you, too, every time we connect. And so I'm Michelle Tucker, President and CEO here at United Way, and I just thank you again for tuning in.